Hello, my name is Lisa, and I have decided to do the cult classic from 1996, The Birdcage. It's directed by Mike Nichols, who directed The Graduate and Closer. It stars Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, Gene Hackman, and Hank Azaria, and many others. I don't. It's just I feel like those are the main characters. It follows two families meeting for the first time after their kids have gotten engaged. And we see that motif a lot in a lot of different movies, and a lot of them they're trying to break up the kids before the wedding and all this. That is not the case in this one, and I think that's probably why I like it because it's two families that they are iffy about the marriage because they're so young, but they're not pursuing them to not get married. Um, the conflict of the movie comes from how different both families are, and of course these kids love each other and um, they both know about each other's lives. Um, but it's the parents that aren't going to be accepting of the other parents. Robin Williams and Nathan Lane play a long term partner, and I say partner because at the time marriage was gay marriage wasn't available. Robin Williams plays a drag club owner in South Beach, Florida, and you see the difference in the very beginning on the characters. The Goldmans, Robin Williams and Nathan Lane's character. Um, you know, uh, Robin Williams owns the club. Nathan Lane is a drag queen in the club every night, the star drag queen. And then you have the other side, which is the Keeleys, and they're actually a senator family. So you start to see the differences right away. You have the Goldmans who lives in South Beach, and they're they live above the drag club, and it's all done in neon. And it's one of actually my favorite scenes how it was filmed. And I always thought because it starts off in the beginning, coming in from the ocean, just one long shot of the ocean leading up to the beach, which has the club in the background lit up beautifully at night with all the people in the front, skating by in bikinis, driving by in nice cars and stuff like that. And it zooms in past the club, actually going into the front doors all the way to the front stage of the drag club. And it's a really beautiful shot scene. And I actually found out recently that it was filmed in three parts. But the editing is so flawless in it that it looks like one just giant long shot, which is literally the first 20 minutes of the film, or 20 seconds, sorry, of the film. And it's just beautiful. The colors in it and everything, the lighting of the boardwalk of all the neon and everything zooming into the building. It was filmed like on a helicopter, then a crane outside, and then handheld going into the club. And it's just the editing on that is just perfect because you really cannot tell that it's not one long shot. The themes of the movie is really social problems and the complex of human relationships because you do have two different, like you have the Keeleys who are a complete conservative family, and then you have the Goldmans which have really made a life for themselves and totally comfortable in their relationship. They've raised their son Val for the last 20 years together. And Val really sees, he has dad, and he calls Albert Auntie Albert, and then he also says mom at one point, and you can see the really big acceptance on there. And then on the other side, you have Barbara, who has this really conservative family that she loves, and she's very cautious of when she tells them she's engaged because, I mean, you could tell that she's so excited to be married to this person, and being later on you can tell she's so excited to be part of the Goldman family, but it's her family that she's worried about is not going to be accepting. um the in the movie the Kings are going through a scandal themselves, from one of their friends, and the people they associate with. So they actually use meeting the Goldmans as a way to get away from home, and there's a lot of comedy. a lot of the sound is actually just used for comic and transition on how how different they are. The whole movie, I mean, is complete. The first, I want to say, the first act and almost the first part of the second act is all just complete different back and forth between Connecticut and Florida. And I mean, you can see the bright colors of Florida, the bright when they're going outside, their home, the what they wear, how they how they portray themselves is just so different in contrast to Connecticut, where it's snowing outside. Their home is very, I would say, like monotoned. Um, and I mean, the music is also the same way. You can tell when there's a couple of scenes where they go out or where they're practicing the drag club show, and it's just upbeat. I want to say like Latin music, kind of Gloria Estefan and stuff like that. Then you go on the other side where there's not really any words, and they're just kind of playing drab music. And um, I want to say like Act 3 is when they use a lot of sound for comic relief. Um, there's the dinner scene, in which takes up the whole third act, which is like the best part of the movie because there's so much stuff going on, and you hear like pans dropping in the other room. Everything's going wrong. It can go wrong, and you can hear all that off screen because of just the sound. Um, they use a lot of different kind of lighting too when showing opposites. You have the bright color of Florida. Their home is very naturally lit, but very bright at the same time. With the Florida sun. And then later on, when they try to change who they are to make them more conservative, they start putting tons of curtains up and using kind of track lighting, and it kind of gives it a more toned down. And there's a scene where after Val asks his dad to kind of change everything so it kind of makes the Keeleys more comfortable, that Robin Williams does the scene where he's sitting at a bar. Everything's dark around him. The bar's closed. Everything's dark around him, and all you see is a light on his face, and you can really see him struggle with, does he want to go back in the closet technically? And he goes back upstairs, and you can actually, as soon as he goes backstairs, you expect the bright light of their home, and it actually already starts to dull, because he's already made that decision, and you kind of see it like that's that's not himself, and that I think the lighting kind of portrays that too as it keeps going on, because even when he comes in later with Nathan Lane, they kind of look around and he's like, "What happened to my home?" You can still see all the shadows of this. It's almost like secrecy. Um, More one of my favorite shots for music though was the Keeleys go home and they're um, the Keeleys are trying to leave their home, and they're trying to sneak away, and you have a little sneaky music, and then it flashes back to South Beach, and they're laying in the beach and relaxing and everything. You can still hear that tone, that sneaky tone, because they're sneakily trying to move all the stuff out of the house before Albert finds out. And you can hear, but all of a sudden it's a little bit more upbeat with a little bit of like, I want to say like Florida fare, that and it keeps going, but you still have that sneaky little background noise. Um, it's just a really good movie. I watched it when I was probably younger than I should have been watching something that cusses so much, but I feel like